The crystal room was everything its name promised. Chandeliers caught the afternoon light and scattered it across pristine white. Tablecloths, making the whole restaurant shimmer like the inside of a jewelry box. It was the kind of place where conversations were conducted in hushed tones, where every piece of silverware had a specific purpose, where children were rarely seen and even more rarely heard. Elena Vasquez had worked at the Crystal Room for 12 years. At 54, she moved through the elegant space with quiet confidence. Her dark hair pulled back in a neat bun, her apron crisp and professional. She knew which fork went where, which wine paired with which entree, and exactly how to be present without being intrusive. But nothing in her 12 years had quite prepared her for the scene. Unfolding at table 7, a little girl sat in a chair that seemed too large for her small frame, her blonde curls cascading over her shoulders, her blue dress probably costing more than Elena made in a month. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old. And she was screaming. Not crying, screaming, high-pitched, furious shrieks that cut through the refined atmosphere like a knife through silk. Beside her sat a man who could only be her father. Tall, dark-haired, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Elena's car. His jaw was clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping beneath his skin. His hands gripped the edge of the table, as if it were the only thing keeping him anchored to his seat. Around them, the other diners tried to pretend nothing was happening. Conversations continued in forced normality. Wine was sipped with deliberate casualness. But everyone was listening. Everyone was watching from the corners of their eyes. The little girl swept her hand across the table, sending a water glass flying. It shattered on the floor with a crash that made several people jump. "Sophia!" the man said sharply. "That's enough!" "I hate you," the girl shrieked back. "I hate this place. I want to go home!" "I want to go home." Elena's co-worker, Marcus, appeared at her elbow. He was 26, efficient, ambitious. "That's Harrison Caldwell," he whispered urgently. "Caldwell Industries. Worth about $3 billion. Table 7 was supposed to be mine, but—" He gestured helplessly at the chaos. I just can't deal with that." "Can you take it?" Elena looked at table 7. At the shattered glass, at the screaming child, at the father who looked like he was about to shatter himself. "I'll take it," she said quietly. She walked toward them slowly, not rushing, giving the situation space to breathe. As she approached, she could hear the man speaking in low, urgent tones. "Please, Sophia. People are staring. You need to calm down. You promised me you'd try today. You promised." "I didn't promise anything," Sophia shouted. "You made me come here." "I didn't want to come." Elena reached their table and crouched down, putting herself at eye level with the broken glass. She began picking up the larger pieces carefully, her movements calm and unhurried. "I'm Elena," she said, not looking at either of them directly. "And I'm going to clean this up so nobody steps on it and gets hurt." Sophia's screaming had quieted to angry breathing. She was watching Elena with suspicious eyes. "Thank you," Harrison said tightly. "I'm so sorry." "I'll pay for the glass, of course. And anything else that gets damaged." "Glass breaks," Elena said simply, still gathering the pieces. "That's what it does. It's nobody's fault." She stood up with the shards, carefully balanced in a napkin, and signaled for a busboy to bring a broom for the smaller pieces. Then she pulled out her order pad, her demeanor completely unchanged, as if screaming children and broken. Glasses were simply part of the natural rhythm of the day. "Now then," she said, looking at Sophia directly for the first time. "I bet you're hungry. Screaming takes a lot of energy." Sophia glared at her. "I don't want anything from here. The food is stupid." "Sophia," Harrison said, his voice strained. "Apologize." "I won't." Elena held up a gentle hand, stopping him. "It's okay," she said. "You know what? I think the food here is a little fancy sometimes, too. Lots of words on the menu that are hard to pronounce." Sophia blinked, surprised. "But," Elena continued, "I know what everything is, and I can tell you which things are actually good and which things are just fancy for no reason. Would that help?" The little girl's mouth opened, then closed. She wasn't screaming anymore. "What do you like to eat?" Elena asked. "When you're at home, what's your favorite food?" "Chicken nuggets," Sophia said quietly. Then, more defiantly, But you probably don't have those here because this place is too fancy. Elena smiled. You're right. We don't have chicken nuggets, but we do have chicken tenders, which are basically fancy chicken nuggets. They're really good. Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside. And they come with honey mustard sauce. I like honey mustard, Sophia admitted reluctantly. Then that's what we'll get you. And what would you like to drink? Chocolate milk? We don't have chocolate milk, Harrison interjected, his voice apologetic. Elena, just water is fine for her. Actually, Elena said gently, I think I can make that work. Give me just a few minutes. She walked toward the kitchen, feeling Harrison's surprised gaze following her. The crystal room didn't serve chocolate milk. It wasn't on the menu. It wasn't even in the building, as far as she knew. But there was a cafe 2 doors down. Elena slipped out the back entrance, hurried down the sidewalk, and bought a small chocolate milk from the cafe. She was back in 4 minutes, slightly out of breath but smiling. When she returned to table 7, Sophia was sitting quietly, her hands folded in her lap. Harrison was staring at his water glass like it held answers to questions he was afraid to ask. Here we are, Elena said, placing the chocolate milk in front of Sophia. 1 chocolate milk just for you? Sophia's eyes widened. But Daddy said, sometimes, Elena said, catching Harrison's eye. The rules can bend a little, especially when someone really needs chocolate milk. Harrison looked at her for a long moment, and Elena saw something shift in his expression. Relief, maybe, or gratitude, or just the small comfort of someone else taking charge when you've been holding everything together for too long. Thank you, he said, and his voice had lost its tight edge. Over the next 40 minutes, something remarkable happened. Sophia ate her chicken tenders quietly, occasionally sipping her chocolate milk. She didn't scream. She didn't throw anything. She sat and ate, and every so often, she looked at Elena with something that might have been curiosity. Harrison ordered the salmon, but barely touched it. He was too busy watching his daughter, as if waiting for the other shoe to drop, for the calm to shatter like the water glass had. When Elena came to clear their plates, Sophia spoke up. Can I have dessert? Harrison opened his mouth, but Elena spoke first. What kind of dessert do you like? Ice cream. We have very good ice cream here. Vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry? Vanilla. With chocolate sauce. Excellent choice. 1 vanilla ice cream with chocolate sauce coming right up. As Elena walked away, she heard Sophia's small voice. Daddy, is Elena nice? And Harrison's response, quiet and wondering. Yes, sweetheart. I think she is. Elena brought the ice cream. And then, making a decision, she brought 2 spoons. Your dad might want to help you with this, she said with a wink. Ice cream is better when you share. She watched from across the room as Harrison and Sophia shared the dessert, the man tentatively offering his daughter a spoonful, the little girl accepting it with the smallest hint of a smile. They came back the next week. Same table, same time. Sophia wasn't screaming this time, but she was sullen, her arms crossed, her face set in stubborn lines. Hello again, Elena said warmly. It's good to see you both. Hi, Elena, Sophia muttered. Rough day? Elena asked. Every day is rough, the little girl said dramatically. I understand that feeling, Elena said, and she meant it. Some days are just harder than others. Over the following weeks, they became regulars. Every Tuesday afternoon, Harrison and Sophia would arrive at table 7. Sometimes Sophia was calm. Sometimes she wasn't. Once, she refused to sit down and spent 15 minutes standing by the window, crying. Another time, she threw her fork and it clattered across 3 tables. But Elena never got flustered, never got angry. She just handled it. She brought Sophia coloring, pages from a children's menu she'd gotten from a family restaurant down the street. She let the little girl choose where she wanted to sit, even if it meant resetting an entirely different table. She learned that Sophia liked her chicken tenders cut into exactly 6 pieces, not 7, not 5, that she would only drink from glasses without ice, that she hated being told what to do but would sometimes do things if they were suggested gently. Other servers watched in amazement. Marcus once asked Elena, "How do you do it? How do you stay so patient?" Elena thought about it. She's not trying to be difficult, she said finally. She's hurting. And when people hurt, especially children, it comes out in ways that look like anger or defiance. But underneath, she's just a little girl who's struggling. One Tuesday, about 2 months into their regular visits, Harrison asked if Elena could sit down for a moment during her break. She joined them at table 7, tucking her hands in her lap. "I wanted to thank you," Harrison said, "properly, for everything you've done for Sophia, for us." "I'm just doing my job," Elena said. "No," Harrison shook his head. "No, you're doing much more than that. You're—" He paused, searching for words. "You're the only person who doesn't look at her like she's broken, like she's a problem to be solved." Elena glanced at Sophia, who was carefully coloring a picture of a butterfly, her tongue caught between her teeth in concentration. "She's not broken," Elena said simply. "She's grieving." Harrison's breath caught. "How did you—" "I recognize it," Elena said gently. "I lost my husband 8 years ago. Heart attack, quick and unexpected. And for a long time after, I was angry at everything. At the world, at God, at people who were happy. I couldn't always control it. Sometimes it burst out at the worst times, at people who didn't deserve it." Harrison was very still. "Sophia's mother died 3 years ago. Car accident. Sophia was in the car, but she survived without a scratch. Not physically anyway." "I'm so sorry," Elena said, and she meant it with every fiber of her being. "She's been to 6 therapists," Harrison continued, his voice low. "I've hired and fired 23 nannies. She got expelled from 2 schools. Everyone says she needs structure, discipline, consequences. But none of it works. Nothing works. And then we come here and you—" He gestured helplessly. "You just talk to her like she's a person, like her feelings matter. And somehow that works." "Her feelings do matter," Elena said. "And she is a person. A small person who's been through something terrible and doesn't have the words for it yet." Sophia looked up from her coloring. "Elena, can you color with me?" "I'm working right now, sweetie. But maybe next time, if your dad says it's okay, I could sit with you for a few minutes." "Okay." Sophia went back to her butterfly. Harrison leaned forward. "I want to ask you something, and please feel free to say no, but would you consider being Sophia's nanny? I'll pay you 3 times what you make here. More if you need it. Whatever it takes." Elena blinked, surprised. "Mr. Caldwell!" "Harrison, please." "Harrison, that's very generous. But I don't think that's the answer." "Why not?" "You're the only person she responds to. The only person who can calm her down. I can calm her down here in this restaurant. For an hour or 2 at a time," Elena said carefully. "That's very different from being with her all day, every day. Here, I'm something special. Someone she sees sometimes, who brings her chocolate milk and doesn't get upset when she's upset. If I became her nanny, I'd become responsible for all the hard parts. Making her do homework, making her go to bed, telling her no. And then I'd become just like everyone else she pushes away." Harrison slumped in his chair. "So what do I do? I'm desperate here. I don't know how to help her." Elena was quiet for a moment, gathering her thoughts. "Can I be honest with you?" "Please." "I think Sophia acts out because she's testing people. She's seeing if they'll leave, like her mother did. Not because her mother wanted to leave, but in a child's mind, the result is the same. Everyone leaves eventually, so she pushes people away first before they can hurt her." Harrison's eyes were shining. That's exactly what the last therapist said." "Then the therapist is probably right," Elena said. "And if that's true, what Sophia needs isn't someone who can control her behavior. She needs someone who will stay, no matter what. Someone who won't leave, even when she's difficult." "But the nannies left. Every single one," which proved her right. That people can't handle her, that she's too much. Harrison put his head in his hands. "I don't leave,"